All right, welcome back to the Q Method podcast, where we dive into all things fitness, sales, and just becoming the best version of yourself. I'm excited. I have an awesome guest with me today, Sam Mina. He's transformed physically. He's one of the best closers that I know out there. So we've got a lot of things to talk about with sales. He's dominating in a lot of things that he's done. He currently, I believe he's running his own business with AI, and we'll get into that as well. But Sam, I'm fired up to have you here, brother. Let's get into it, man.
Likewise, Quinn. Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. So, Sam, like if you were to boil this down, man, like I guess give us a rundown. Like who is Sam? Like what got you to where you are today? Give me a little backstory on Sam.
Um, okay, so I mean, starting off where kind of all the stuff, the magic and the effort really started happening, right? It was
Okay, let's
back
do that. Yeah.
in 2018 is when I first joined the door-to-door space. Now, a little bit of backstory. I dropped out of high school at about 16 years of age. I was a sophomore, so yeah, I was 16. With the captivating idea that I wanted to become a professional day trader. My parents, somehow I was able to convince my parents to let me drop out and finish school online. And then I proceeded to, for the next year, from the ages of 16 to 17, I would put on a suit, wake up at 6 in the morning, and trade the Forex. The crypto wasn't even a thing at the time. It was mostly Forex and stocks. I got super into it. It got to a point where I ended up traveling to the London Academy of Trading. I spent 2 months out there trading with the world's best traders, learned a lot. And that ended up turning into me working for a brokerage called Maverick FX back in the day. I was 17 years old at the time. And they put me through a year's worth of training, and I had to do simulation trades for 9 months straight. And it was it took forever. But after a certain point, I got a funded account with them. I was trading their money, s- like halfway through 17, and things were going well. I was making consistent profits. It was a smaller account. It was, I think, 25 grand that they
Hmm.
started me off with. Everything was going great. Now, I have no reason why I got into door to door at that point, because I was in a great position day trading and making relatively good money. I was also working for my parents at the time at their import export business. Nothing fancy, just sitting at the computer, ship packing boxes and doing basically nothing all day, right? I got to really use that time to study my trading and really, get a lot deeper into that. So it's like I was getting paid 2 grand a month from them, and then I was also making money trading. So life was
Nice.
all right. But as with most high performers, we don't really base ourselves off of how good life is. We base ourselves off of how challenged we are. And it got to a point
Mm,
where at that point I didn't feel challenged anymore. Day trading was kind of fun, but it got kind of, I wouldn't say annoying, but I would say I definitely wanted to do something different. I spent the last 2 years every day looking at charts and trades and having my emotions dictated by if the trade went up or down. And, so I was already starting not to take a step back, but really just like trying to do something else that would stimulate my brain at that point. And I'm sitting in my parents' warehouse and I'm on Indeed looking for other jobs that I could
no
sit and
way.
yeah. And I end up finding make 70 grand in 3 months. And didn't say, it was a completely vague Indeed post. There was like nothing actually that said door to door sales or let me connect my phone here. But I ended up actually, I don't know if you ever met, did you ever meet Gustavo when you worked with us?
Don't remember. I don't think so. Not that I
Regardless,
remember,
I
at
end
least.
up
Yeah.
sent a very I actually still have the email. It's somewhere in my sent folder, but at that point, I just like everybody else, I thought sales was like a job you needed a college degree for, and like you needed to really wow people to
Mm.
get in, right? Even though in sales they recruit anyone with a pulse. But I sent an email. I got the phone call with Gustavo. He told me, "Hey, it's
Yeah.
door to door sales. You're going to be knocking on people's doors, selling them alarm systems. And
Mm,
you have to move to Ohio in 4 days. That's when the summer starts." I
mm.
told him I told him I'd get back to him at the time, and I woke up, I
Yeah.
think, after 2 days of thought, and can I cuss on this?
If you want to, go for it.
I said, "Fuck it," and I woke up, and I called him, and I was like, "Let's do it." At that point, I had a
Mm,
girlfriend, I had a dog, I had a house, I had everything. So, like, I needed to make some quick adjustments, but once I did, I was on a flight to Columbus, Ohio. What city was it? It was, I don't remember, regardless. Lewis Center. Lewis Center,
so
Ohio.
you started in alarms. You started in alarms then,
Yeah.
selling alarm
Yeah,
systems.
yeah.
Okay,
Yep. It was a
got it.
great time. And to be honest, it didn't pick up steam as fast as most people would think. Now, I did have a different start
Mm,
than most people, but they had 7 days of in-classroom training. And by
uh,
the 3rd day, I'm like, "Get me out there." I'm the type of person that learns by experience. Like, let me hit my head against the wall a couple
yeah,
times, and I'll figure out how to not hit my head against the wall. By the 3rd day, I'm like, "Let me just go knock." Like, I get it. I get you're teaching me all these things, but, like, just, like, let me go say stuff and figure it out myself. So, like,
yeah,
5th day, I got out there, got my teeth kicked in. Whole next week, got my teeth kicked in every single day, 8 hours a day, didn't close a single account. I think if I'm remembering this correctly, it was the Tuesday of the following week, my 2nd week, that I ended up meeting this nice lady. She needed an alarm system. I helped her get set up. I got her a doorbell camera, a couple sensors. Boom, she was happy. That was my first sale. That was, if I remember, I could probably tell you the exact date. I started March 17th, 2018. Oh, that was probably end of March at that point, beginning of summer. We were starting summer a bit early at that point.
yeah.
After
So
that,
it took you some time to get your first sale. It wasn't like
yeah,
right away you were
yeah.
good. Yeah.
Took like 2 weeks, 2 full weeks, yeah,
Dang.
and I kept seeing our manager go out and kill it. His name was Justin Dospittle, he was a total killer, but
Yeah.
once I got that first sale, the faucet opened. It was like off to the races.
Mm,
And that I got 1, and the next day I got 2, and then I got 2 the next day after that, and then I got 1 the next day after that, and then every single day I was popping off accounts. So I just needed to figure out what it looked like. I'm like, "Oh, that's what a sale is. Cool. I'm gonna go do that again a bunch of times."
yeah.
And I mean, fast forward,
Dude,
that was a great summer.
dude, that it was the same kind of thing that I went through. So when I first started, I did alarms as well, and it was at least 7 days just grinding, no sales, nothing
Mhm.
for 7 days. And I'm like, dude, I suck at this. And then when you get one, it really does. You're like, it does something to you. You're like, oh wow, like it wasn't as hard as I was making it out to be. Like you just do it, right?
Yeah,
So I love that.
exactly. Yeah. That summer,
Cool.
I ended up I think I sold 150 accounts that summer, my rookie year.
Okay,
I
so
won
you
top rookie.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome, dude.
it
That
gets
for
cooler
those
the
that
next
don't
year.
know, like I know, yeah, for those that don't know, by the way, like that's a pretty freaking good for your first song. I mean, that rookie of the year, like that's solid numbers. A lot of guys never get to that, right? So just for my audience here, that is like solid. Like he kicked butt for sure. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it
So
gets
then what
nutty
happened from
the
then?
the next year. So, and I'm adding this story because I want to give a shout out to this guy, and you probably know him. I'm not sure if you met him while we worked together. Do you remember Tony Russo?
Okay. Yes,
Anthony
absolutely.
Russo? So that's one of my best friends,
Yep.
right? We became best friends in a very
Okay.
unorthodox way. So I had just became top rook. He was top rep
Mm-hmm.
for the company. We worked for a company named AmpSmart for at that time. He was already there 7 years, and he was top rep the last 7 years plus. Like no one has touched him. We were at a company event in
Mm,
Hawaii. This was after the summer, right? We're getting ready to gear up for our next summer. And I'm meeting everyone in the company. And of course, like top rookie, top rep, people are coming up to me like, "Oh, hey, nice to meet you. You did great." I end up walking up to Tony, and the first words I ever told him, ever, like, didn't even say hello. I just said, "Oh, you're the top guy. I'm fucking you up this year." And his
love
response,
that.
and
I
his
love it.
response was, "You're the Chihuahua I step on."
Oh, that's good, man. That's awesome.
So good. And
Right?
funny enough, right? So what happened that year? The most he had ever sold in a year in the last 7 years, I think, was like 250 accounts, 240 accounts in a summer, which is incredible to be fair, right?
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
I took that to heart, and I'm a very competitive person. And the next summer, I was out 15 days knocking doors. By the first 15 days, I had 40 accounts up. I sold, I think, an average of 2 to 3 accounts a day before he even got to area. And then it was off to the races, man. That year was one of the most incredible alarm years. I guess the second alarm year and last, but we both, I'll just skip to the end and then I'll explain the middle of it. But he ended up beating me. He ended up at 380 something accounts. I ended up at 360 accounts my second year in alarms in a summer. Yeah. That consisted of, we were like, I think the fourth. I was the fourth, and I think he was the fifth. So I hit 300 first. In the company never hit 300. And I mean, second year that
Man,
was all
that is
that's the
amazing.
first person. But that year we were cranking, man. I had a picture of him on my wall that I would literally be like, I'm killing you. Like it was a level of competition I don't think I've ever been at. I mean, yeah, in solar, yeah, we got to that point, but it was a very high level and it
Yeah.
was every day, 8 a.m. on doors, off doors at 9 p.m. Not getting in the car once we're getting out of area and being like, wait, drop me off at that door. Their lights are on. Right? Like that level of, I don't think I ever had that level of intensity in solar because you didn't have to, right? But in alarms, it was like
Yeah.
lights are on, knock door, 10 o'clock at night. Sorry, it's dark, but it's not late, right? It's just you're
Yeah.
cranky, right? So we averaged, like
Wow.
we had some weeks of 30 plus. We had days of 7, 8, 9 in a day sold. We were running. And I mean, I'm gonna add this just because, but I was winning the entire year. I hope Tony watches this and comments on this, but I was winning the
Well,
entire summer. I was smoking him. I was 40 accounts ahead of him all summer. And then I'll be honest, and this is gonna sound kind of like an excuse, but like when you kind of see past the blinders and you realize the Kool-Aid that's being fed to you, and you just, I got turned
mm,
off. Like I was the last month into the company, I started seeing the little things they would do. Like I started seeing
yeah.
behind the veil, and that's I feel like one of my downsides is where if I'm all in, I'm all in. I will be competitive. I will eat every bite of it, right? But the second I get any sort of distaste, it's like 0%. There isn't even 20%. I can't even do the job. So that last full month, I think
That's interesting.
I hit 320. He was at like 270, 280. And I just stopped working the whole last month. And he ended up, I think I sold 40 that month with very, very little effort. It was just like I had appointments. We were just like on doors a couple hours a day. He ended up selling 70 that month. Something crazy and passing me.
Sheesh.
But I love the guy. Beautiful year. That catapulted us into the next
Yeah.
endeavor, which was solar, right?
Yep.
I'll pause there though if you have any
Yeah.
questions about that year.
Okay, cool. So yeah, let's break, dude. First of all, that's amazing, and I love the competition because that is what it. I swear that is the only thing that matters sometimes is like having some competition, having something that you're pushing towards, having somebody that you're going against, and I love how that just started kind of naturally. You just called them out, and then both push each other to that next level. That's amazing.
And we became best friends. It's like the
That's
best
still
friendship stuff with that.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. It's like that competition brought the best out of both of you, and then you guys both obviously are friends now, which is amazing. When you said like you started losing trust in the company and it's like you didn't even want to put in any effort. Like was it more of just like if you're not completely sold on the product that you're selling, or was it more of just knowing that there's people behind the scenes that are kind of screwing you over, or was it more of just
The second one.
you started to get okay, yeah, and lost that, and then it was just hard. It was hard to sell. You didn't even have that motivation anymore. It's kind of
Yeah,
gone.
to give you an idea, right? It was
Yeah,
it was a couple different things, and to be honest, it was 7 years ago, so I don't remember all of the details. But it was little things
totally,
with, for
totally.
example, I mean the normal door to door stuff, right? Like realizing
Yeah,
pay is
yeah,
completely messed up, having little issues that don't make any sense where you're just like, wait a second, I should be making this. Why am I making this? Oh, and the
absolutely.
final straw was
Got it.
I sold 300 and whatever accounts. And we're supposed to have a back end check, right? Like, I don't know if you remember alarms, you get the front end and then the back end is when the summer ends, you get a massive check. I was expecting to get something pretty decent at
Yeah.
that point. And this was the words from the
Okay.
company.
Got it.
You had 8 cancels. You are negative on your back end. I'm like, wait a second. Hold on. I installed 300 and
And
something accounts. I had 8 of them canceled throughout the off season, and now there's no back end. So it was one of those things where I'm just like,
yeah. Okay.
yeah. But I'm grateful for that though. That's what got me into solar.
Absolutely. So it was more of like just not trusting the company, and then it was hard to kind of go out and give the full effort and the full maximum. And I completely agree with that. If you don't aren't sold on what you're doing, the company, who you're going to battle for, I agree. Like it gets in your head so fast, and like if there's even just a little bit of that, like you got to move. You gotta move on. I think,
100%.
personally, and I've seen that with myself. Like if there's any sort of just you don't feel like you guys are in the same direction, like get out, move on. That's the universe or God telling you, okay, this isn't where you need to be, in my opinion.
I
So
agree,
okay,
man.
so
As
you
well as that.
so you so you had those vibes. You're like, all right, I got to move on. Tell us the next part here. Got into solar. This is where we met. Obviously, this is where I met Sam in the solar industry. But what happened from there?
So I was already had one foot out of the industry before the summer was even up, right? But at first,
Yep.
I was being the I guess once you hit big numbers in sales, you're the hot girl on the block to a lot of companies. So I was gonna possibly
Mm-hmm.
stay in alarms, and I was getting a lot of offers. And at that point, I found out what bonuses were, and I'm like this 19-year-old kid. Like, wait a second, you're willing to pay me fifty
Yeah.
thousand dollars to join your team? What? Right?
Up front.
So I
Yeah, up
started
front too,
up
before you even
front.
go out.
Yeah, and I mean, it isn't all what it seems, right? We find that out later. But thankfully, I never took a bonus, which I was super great, was super happy about. But I was shopping around a bunch, and then I don't know. Did you ever meet Bry Henry?
Yes, absolutely. Love Bry.
Shout out Bry. Bry's who got me
Yeah.
initially into solar. So we were
Okay.
friends. We met at the previous company. He was selling alarms. He jumped into solar before we did. And I remember this text like it was yesterday, because this is literally what got me into solar. We were making great money in alarms, selling as much as we were selling. I was a 19-year-old kid making 7 grand a week. Things were moving. I had no idea. Like it was amazing. Uh, he hit me with a text that said, "You're too good to sell alarms." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he sent me a pay stub for 100,000 bucks in a month. And I was like,
Yeesh.
"You did that? That's you? That's your name? You're on there?" And he showed me the proof, showed me the pay stubs over the last few months. You remember at that point, Brian and Seth were absolutely demolishing sales.
Crushing.
Well, mostly
Yeah.
just Brad, but regardless, that I mean, and this is a caveat to how I joined alarms too. Why I even joined the sales industry is because I have a very concrete belief that if someone could do it, I could do it too. We have the same blood, we have the same skin. Most likely, I have higher effort because that's just what I've proven to myself. So anytime I see someone do something, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, cool, I could do that too. And I feel like that belief has served me dramatically throughout my life, because then Brad was showing me his success, the teams he's building, the paychecks, and I'm like, I could do. That's like not even a question. I see you do it, I'm gonna go do it. So we had a bunch of. It was me and a buddy that were leaving together at the time. We had a bunch of offers, people offering us not a crazy amount, but enough that it actually would raise an eyebrow. Like, oh, okay, cool, that's gonna take care of me the next 6 months. We ended up getting
Mm-hmm.
recruited into the company that me and you met at, Legacy. And I didn't get a single bonus. I didn't
Yep.
get anything. They barely even took care of travel expenses, but we were cool with that because I actually don't remember why we were cool with that, but everything seemed fine. We didn't want to ask for a lot. They explained to us that the truth, which is most bonuses, and this is for any reps right now that are listening to this wanting to get into a company or being offered a bonus, it is never free. Ever. Not once. No one is ever going to give you free money. It is always tied to something on the back end. And at that point I didn't need a loan. Right. So that was the main reason. I was just like, whatever, we won't do a bonus, all good. I'm just gonna show up. So drove from Texas to Vegas at that point and started off the solar career.
Mm-hmm.
Solar started off fantastic, by the way. It was me and a buddy. He had already had a little bit of solar experience. So before alarms, he's been in the industry 15 years, let's say. He did solar for 2 to 5 of those and then got into alarms for 10. So he did solar back in like a 2012. right? But he still had a little bit of
Mm,
nuance. So at that point, it was kind of like I had no idea what I was doing in solar. So first day out, we didn't get training, we didn't get anything. We just went to correlation, and then we went to go knock doors. I didn't even. We had a pamphlet, right? I didn't even know how solar worked. I didn't study anything yet. I didn't know anything. But my buddy
wow.
was he knew the stuff, and I was very good at talking at that point and making friends and being charismatic. So we were kind of
Yeah.
like setter and closer before setter and closer was a thing.
Mm,
We were both out knocking together. We were tandeming streets, and me on one side, him on the other. And whenever I would get an appointment, he would come and close it down. And that happened for the first few deals. First day, we set 3 appointments. Second day, we close a 28 kilowatt at a full,
holy smokes.
saving the guy money at that, a decent amount of money. That was
Yeah.
back in the day where
Back
like
in the day.
it was
Yeah.
so easy to save people money. So for those that don't know what that is, I'm just going to mention it because it is important, right? The money aspect of this all, because that's what started changing my own mindset to the industry. I went from making with my hardest work ever, working 13 hours a day in alarms, what I had just made in one solar deal. My second day in, that deal netted about $30,000. And that was a big wake up call. First month, we sold 8. None of them canceled, all went to install. We had an amazing first month in solar. And I'll kind of summarize this because now we're going to get into like 3, 4 years of solar. But we were only self-shenning at the time, and there was no setter
Yeah.
closer. No one did that. We just knocked our own doors, closed our own deals. I think I was averaging after the second week, I kind of just started closing myself. I started figuring it out. Started closing 5 deals a week pretty consistently. I think my high was like 7 or 8 my first year. My first year was same thing. I closed 150, 160 solar accounts. I think installed 120 of them, something like that. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah. So let me give my perspective. So, dude, Sam came in just to give you guys an idea. Like I was out in Vegas actually. I was knocking. I was setting mainly at the beginning, and dude, this guy Sam Mina was all the talk. Everyone was. I remember my buddy Cole Jacobs. You know Cole, right, Sam?
Shout out Cole.
And shout out to Cole. He was like, dude, this is the guy you wanna be like, man. I'm like, okay, okay. So I'm like trying to be around this guy. I'm trying to talk to this dude. He's like, dude, he just sold, I can't even remember the numbers, like 20 a week or it was some crazy number. I'm like, holy crap. And I just remember the best thing that Sam did was just say, hey man, like it's possible. He kind of just pushed my limit in terms of like what you can do. And I remember you saying one thing to me that stuck with me forever. You said, if they sit down, it's a done deal. And I was like, how's this guy so confident that they like some people say no, right? But he was like, no, if they sit down, it is a done deal. And I was like, wow, like that's what I want. I want to have that, or I want to have that confidence when I walk into a house. But yeah, that's what I remember from you and just like the crazy numbers you were doing, and it was you just had that mindset, and that's what I took
Yeah,
from it.
man.
But
It was a
yeah,
culmination of momentum, preparation, and opportunity, right? It all just
yeah,
came together. And it's funny because it came together right when you came, because you came 2021,
yeah,
right?
yep,
Yeah. So
yeah, around that time frame.
2020,
Yep.
I figured out my footing in 2020, and I think at that point, we took over the Vegas office, and yeah, we were
Yep.
managing the Vegas office by 2021. And I kind of had already figured out closing pretty well. We still didn't have setters or closers. 2021. So yeah, no wait, hold on. I closed 150 first year. We ended up building Vegas. That's what it was. And then second year, Cole's team came. So you, Cole, and the
Hmm.
whole, I think you guys had like
Yeah.
60 guys or something nutty.
Yeah, bunch of new people. Like no one had sold solar. Like it was Cole, like
Yeah.
just running the ship. It was pretty epic of Cole.
That was
Honestly,
a
I couldn't
pivotal
believe it.
moment. Pivotal moment
Yeah.
because I didn't even know what setter closer was. Really, like I was very good at knocking and I was very good at closing as well, but it was way more efficient the way we ended up setting it up when you guys came because
Yep.
we closed so many more deals. It made more sense, right? Like you guys couldn't close the way we did.
Hmm.
And we didn't have 60
Yep.
bodies that can go and just knock. So boom, perfect scenario. Um, that the numbers started getting nutty that year. That's when it got kind of crazy. I don't remember exact specifics, but I think first year my highest week was 7. I think second year my highest week was 28.
Yeah, dude, that's I remember when you were selling like double digits every week and I was like, this is insane. Like, what is this guy saying? So like what do you feel? I mean, what made in your mind, I guess, what made you so good? What made you so elite? What was it that like you had? What were the traits? Like, what would you say to somebody if you were to explain like how you got so good at self?
A lot of it's going to sound cliche because it really is the shit that everyone says. But I'm going to try to get deeper and a little more specific on it, right? So one, not the most important, but I had a lot of charisma. I like people. I don't hate people, right? I love to meet people. I've always been like this. And maybe partially my culture. I meet a lot of Brazilians that are just like me, where we all just love to talk and talk to people all day long, crack jokes, do our thing, right? So in
Yeah.
Portuguese, it's called simpates, right? Which just means you're charismatic.
Yeah.
That mixed with an undeniable belief in my industry, product, and company,
Mm.
mixed with actually enjoyed the job. And I was passionate about not solar, but the job, the sport of door to door sales, right? Those
Mm.
three things were kind of and then momentum pick was the fourth silent one that just like once you're doing something for so long, you just keep doing it. But I wish I could say it was hard when it wasn't. And most people will tell you this. People throwing up big numbers, it's easier than throwing up small numbers because you're in a flow. I was in a flow.
Mm.
Everyone I talked to said yes to me easier because they felt my energy. It was an energy that's why same thing you just said. Like if they sat, they closed. I truly believe that. I didn't just say that. That was something where I'm like, they opened the door. And I'm already texting in the group chat, hey guys, one's going in. They didn't even say hello yet,
Hmm.
but I already knew,
Yeah.
right? So it was one of the
Mm.
it was belief. So if I were to delete everything I just said and just pick one, it'd be belief.
Belief.
It was massive belief. And I feel like a lot of sales companies, they get caught up teaching people the feel, felt, founds and the looping and the all the sales tactics that they have their place in a conversation and how to maneuver it. But if I were to redo a sales team again, I would sit there and instead of teaching sales tactics, I would sit there and show happy customer success videos all day long during correlation
Interesting.
because I
Yeah.
think belief is more important than ability.
Yeah, belief, you're saying belief in the product, belief in the system, conviction in what you're doing is going to translate way more than just saying a certain thing or a pitch or anything like that.
I've seen new people that came in their second day outsell veterans. And the only way I've
Yeah.
been able to quantify that is they haven't had enough time to let the weight of the world sit on their shoulders. They let their minds start running in a negative direction. Because the veterans, I mean, after a
Totally.
while, you have to monitor your own mind, man. Sales is hard. I would have months where I'd hit
Yeah.
70, and then the next month I'd hit 4. And I worked just as hard both months.
Mm. Okay, so you
You
yeah,
know?
so you had you yeah, okay. Yeah, totally. No, it happens.
And what
There's
happened that month is my
ebbs
belief
and
went down.
flows.
Like, it's something
Mm.
that you constantly have to monitor is your belief. And that was every month, it was something where it's like, do I still believe? It's not do I believe or do I not believe? It's cyclical. It's to what extent do I believe? Right. In some months, my belief would be higher than others. In the high months, I would go and run because I spoke with so much conviction. People just had no other reason but to believe me and do business with me. And then I was charismatic, so they liked me.
Man, that's good. That's so good. No, I totally agree. And I've seen it with myself for sure. Like the days or the months, like even in solar, I remember like sometimes I'd get in my head, like, is this actually helping the customer, right? And whenever you had that thought, stuff would hit the fan. Like you just wouldn't sell or you couldn't. It's impossible if you don't have that conviction in the product, your state. I completely agree. And you got to monitor that throughout because it does go up and down through different things that come in and you got to really monitor who you're listening to as well because if you start listening to the negative stuff it kind of takes over, you know what I mean?
Yeah, misery loves company, man. And the worst thing I used to
Yeah,
see is we had to take care of in an office was whenever there were a couple cancers in the office. And what I mean by cancers, people that let the world tear them down. Like, we get it. Everything's hard.
totally.
Sales is hard. We're out there talking to people. People are going to tell you no. It's just what it is, right? You can either take it to the chin,
Exactly.
move forward, and have a smile the next day, or you can sit in the back of the classroom and talk about how this job sucks and how your manager's screwing you.
Yeah.
We had to make sure that when new people came in, one, we didn't keep cancers in the office, but two, we never put new people next to the cancer because it spreads like wildfire.
Totally. And that translates into everything. In sports, when I was playing football, that was the main thing, was the culture. Like that was the difference between this team and Alabama, was just the culture of like we would weed out the cancers. We would make sure that they couldn't speak, right? Like, hey, we don't talk like that around here, right? And that I completely agree translates into sales as well. It's like if you have a leader like that and a team of people that are all making sure that everyone's positive and has that same mission, it makes such a difference. So that is huge. Completely agree
100%,
there.
man. Belief over
So
ability.
okay, so you crushed it. You crushed it in solar for years and years. What made you, I guess, from there? Like, I guess we can kind of finish the story here, but I also want to get into your fitness stuff too. But like, okay, what happened after that? I guess wrap up the solar, and then what are you doing now? Like, what
It
took
all
you
goes
where
in
you're at
order.
now?
The fitness stuff is fun because it's more recent, so I have more to say about it. But on the
Awesome.
so second year, we sold a bunch. We ended up building out Vegas. You guys ended up
Yep.
going, I think, to Texas. We both
Austin.
had
Yep.
Arizona. We ended up going this 2022 with an Arizona and a Vegas office. In 22, we broke off Vegas, turned that into Dallas and Houston, and kept Vegas. We split it into three. We took one big team, split into three, moved them. So it got to a point where mid
Nice.
2022, we had 9 offices in 7 different states with 30 people in each one. 2022, we did 21 megawatts installed team wise. I
Amazing.
sold 306 accounts in 2022 for solar.
Guys, guys, I hope you understand that that is insane. Like, that is so awesome, man. The dude, just I mean, the work ethic that you have to do that, the amount of time you got to take to go to all those appointments and the stuff you have to deal with on the back end, it's insane. In terms of getting them installed and making sure you're working your pipeline. Did you have like a bunch of help? Did you have people like behind the scenes running all the back end stuff, or so you could just sell, or how did that work? Curious on that. But I think you're
Sorry, the
muted.
rhythm
There.
person was there. So
Oh, you're good.
ask that question again.
I'm just curious, like, did you have a team of people like going through the pipeline for you and running the back office for you? Because I know with solar, like, there's so much going on. I I mean, so that you could just focus on selling, or were you doing the whole thing? Were you like running your pipeline?
Depends on the time. 2022, I didn't. I was doing everything myself. Well, on my own personal pipeline, our team pipeline, we had a pipeline manager, and we had calls with the installers, and that handled itself. My own personal pipeline, I took care of. At the end of 2022, I made one of my girlfriends at the time an assistant, and I had her handling all of my pipeline. So that ended up working for a couple months, and then roll into 2023, which trying to think. That was my last year in solar. Yeah, that's what it was. So we had already had a crazy year 2022. 2023 rolls around. We keep up with momentum. We start selling. I have my best month ever, February of 2023, which I sold 76 solar accounts in a month, which that was a
Awesome.
great month. Just a little pause on that. That was perfect planning on our part, perfect
Ooh.
execution, and a badass team, man. Like
Yeah,
we had a great manager that was managing everyone in the blitz. It was a blitz, so we blitzed for an entire month. I went and got a mansion in Alvin, Texas, like a full mansion. Like it was like a 5,000 square foot mansion. Give me 1 second.
dude. Yeah. For those that don't know, that is like 76 in a month. That is unheard of. That is definitely in the top 1%, 0.1% of like sales in the solar industry
I'll
in
let you know in
terms
a
of
sec.
people that I know at least. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we rented a massive mansion just for fun. We didn't have to, but it was well, we wanted it to also be a good experience for the team, right? So, we
Hmm.
got it was 15 setters. We had one manager that was managing the setters, doing correlation. Shout out Matt. Matt is one of the best managers in the game when it comes to like what he did. Creating culture, Matt
Hmm.
and we had 2 or 3 overflow closers that were on there as well that in case I couldn't get to something. But my
Hmm.
process was so dialed in that I would wake up with 28 appointments on the day and figure out how to get to all of them.
Were you
So,
driving or were
yeah,
you doing it on Zoom? You
I
had to
was
have been doing it
driving.
on Zoom.
I know.
You were
No, I was
driving?
driving. I was
Oh,
driving.
fuck.
But it was a process where we obviously we had to siphon through the appointments 'cause not all of them are solid. So I'd wake up at
Yeah.
28, I'd have all the setters show up first thing in the morning to the appointment's house, all 28 of them, and confirm. Boom, that would drop it down to 15, 16. And then I would have them call an hour before the appointment time to double confirm, which would take it down to 8 or 9, and then boom, all 8 I'm at. It's and I would close 90%. So
Wow.
it was just
That's
clockwork.
epic.
We went for 30 days, hit 76 accounts. We went for another 15, we extended it. I ended up hitting 92 accounts in that, the full 45 days, which was amazing time. Looking back on it, it's funny because it got to a point where when you work for that long, for 15-hour days over and over and over and
Wow.
over, working
That's a
all
lot.
Sundays, we never took a single break. It was Saturday, Sunday, Monday, every day. I remember like getting to a point on like the 40th day where I'm just like sitting, driving, looking at people hanging out in their front yard. I'm like, must be nice. I'm just angry at the world. So that's when I knew I needed a mental break. But to keep it going,
Wow. Yeah. So, dude,
uh,
that first of all, like that is some epic, um, I don't even know if it's discipline or just like work ethic. I'd call that work ethic. I mean, you're able to just focus and just do one thing over and over and over again. I mean, was it how were you able to like stay in that and stay in the zone on day 28, day 30? Like, was it just, hey, I gotta sell it for the setters? Was it just what was your mindset going into that blitz?
I'll tell you what, it's an easy answer. And this is what a lot of like you'll see on these like billionaire interviews. It's passion, man. I love this stuff. There's no way
Mm,
to like if you're trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, put passion first. Not because like it's a better opportunity or to make like passion will push you past what normal people are willing to do. And most people are
mm,
not willing to do what I did on that blitz because they're not passionate about what I was passionate about, which was door to door and sales and what we were doing. So it wasn't again, it wasn't hard. It was all so easy because I loved to do it. So like it taught me that whatever you do decide to do in life, make sure you're passionate about it because that'll mean you'll push a little bit further than the next guy. And if we're all in a competition right now, right? There is at least there if you're not passionate about what you're doing, there is someone in your same industry that is, and they will run circles around you.
man, that's good. Great answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. You gotta have something that drives you other than just having to work or having to do it. There's got to be a little bit of that juice or that passion or that next level to do something epic like that, you know, where you're
Mm.
obsessed,
And
right? You're obsessed. Okay. So after that, I guess what happened? How did you get to where you are now? I mean, from what I know, you own some sort of AI company, correct?
I do. Coffee cup development.
Okay. Tell us
Yeah,
about
so
that and how did you get into that?
I'll get into the fitness stuff first because it literally all
Okay.
comes together, right?
Cool. Let's transition to fitness then. So, dude, this guy, first of all, Sam had an epic transformation. I don't know exactly your stats. You sent me that photo, dude, of your
Mhm.
transformation, which is pretty freaking awesome. But let's talk about that and what got you to, I guess, tell us your stats first. So, where were you at? What did you get to with this transformation with your fitness, so that we have an idea of like what happened? I guess weight wise and like how lean you got? Like, kind of give me like a breakdown of that from where you were to your your best spot that you got to.
So I started, so beginning of this year, actually, January. Well, actually, a little bit of backstory.
Hmm.
I've always worked out. I've worked out for the last decade. I've always had a 3 to 5 day gym schedule. I've always tried to watch my food. I've always done the eating Chipotle because I think it's healthy. Didn't really count food. I just always thought like, okay, what I'm eating's healthy. I should see results as long as I hit the gym while I eat this. Right? I did that for 10 years.
Mm,
But then I realized that it's fitness is like sales, right? If you give 90%, you only see 10% of the results. If you give 100, you see a full 100%. It is huge
thanks, bro.
difference.
Mm,
Uh, Fast forward, I mean, January of this year, I was 28% body fat, 3 pounds. And given, I wasn't like fat, but I was definitely
okay.
bigger than I should have been.
Yeah. 233.
You get to,
Okay. You're
yeah,
233.
233. Which funny, I'm actually close to that same weight now, but way different body fat percentage. But
Love it.
233, 28%. And I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired, man. Like that's really, I mean, that's something that I've noticed myself where I'll let something linger until I'm just sick and tired of it. And then it's Uber effort, Uber passion, Uber's everything, right? So
Yeah.
I just decided to, what was actually, so this was a big catalyst. I have a buddy, and you probably know him too. He's the owner of a cool solar company named Spartan Solar. Shout out Alex. But
Nice. Nice. Yep.
he used to do these things called Murphs every Sunday. And actually, while I'm talking, I'm realizing I always attach myself to like some thing that I see someone do, and I'm like, I could do that too. And that always pushes me into like the next level of my life. I saw
Very
Alex doing Murphs
competitive, it
every
sounds like.
Sunday. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And he posted something January 1st, which was a perfect year achieved. 52 Murphs done this year. Every Sunday, one Murph was accomplished. And I sat there. I remember the feeling. I sat there like because like I couldn't get my fitness that consistent. I got it 70%, 80% consistent, but I can never do 100. 100, I thought it was like impossible. So I'm looking at his story and I'm like, that is absurd that he had that level of discipline to do a Murph every Sunday. I was so inspired and impressed that that's what I started my year off. I told myself I would do a Murph every Sunday. And I did. Like I did for a very long time. I recently slowed down because I started bulking and I just don't need that extra calorie deficit anymore. I and without fail, right? And I noticed a lot of things with how my brain worked, how my discipline leveled up because who wants to do a Murph on Sunday, man? It's the worst thing you could ever want to do.
Yeah, that's
But if you force yourself to do
game.
it, your brain gets better at doing stuff you don't like to do. But to not drag this on, I picked that habit up, started doing Murphs every Sunday. Wasn't counting my food yet, but I created like a little meal plan, which was actually exactly what it was. It was 2 protein waffles, 30 grams of protein, a protein shake in the morning, 6 ounces of chicken, 6 ounces of rice, lunch, 6 ounces of chicken, 6 ounces of steak. I mean, I'm sorry, 6 ounces of steak, 6 ounces of rice, dinner, and then 200 grams of Greek yogurt, fruit, granola, and a scoop of protein. That was my diet for like 6 straight months. The same food every
Yeah.
day without fail. And I liked it. I mean,
Yeah.
I find comfort in routine. Go ahead.
So where did you go from? So you were 233 and then you went down to like I guess where did you get to like I guess your lowest
The
point?
lowest,
And I know you've gained muscle back since, but yeah, what
lowest
was
was
like
3 weeks
your
ago,
where you stripped it?
186.
Okay, 186. See that right there is what I'm always trying to tell guys. You gotta go down before you can go up. I see it so much where guys are like scared to go below 200 pounds. They're scared to go like, and they're like 5'10", 5'8", freaking
Mhm,
5'7". And I'm like, dude, what the heck, man? Like, I don't know where this idea came from that everybody is like 220 pounds just lean and shredded, but
mhm,
it's very hard to get there, right? So, okay, so
100%.
you got down there. Obviously, now you're up. You've been able to, be a little bit higher than that and still staying lean. But that I got to drive home because mine was just like that, man. I went from 240 down to dude, my lowest, I was around like that same weight, which is crazy because I'm 6'3", it's true 6'3", maybe
You
even a little
got
bit taller than
lean, huh?
6'3". So I got lean, bro. I was like 3 to 5%. Like I was insane. Like not
Jeez.
healthy, but that's sometimes you got to go there. And I see guys way too often. They never even get lean. They've never even been close to lean. You know. So okay.
Yeah.
So that's your
Slight
transformation
caveat
there.
to that, by
Sorry,
the
keep
way,
going, man.
just so people
Go
don't
ahead.
think
Yeah.
I lost just from 230 something to 187. I put on 10 pounds of muscle, 15 pounds of muscle at the same time. So I really
Exactly,
lost
dude.
50 pounds,
Exactly.
50, 55 pounds, and put on muscle all the way back up to 187. But 3 weeks ago, I was sitting at 187, probably about 9% body fat. And just for everyone that wants to stay above 200, let me
Yeah,
tell you, it's so much cooler to be shredded. Being big is cool. Don't get me wrong. Lifting
dude.
heavy weights is
Yeah.
cool. I love it. But seeing a serratus and seeing your serratus move as you breathe is the coolest thing in the world. Or maybe because I was fat
100%,
my
man.
whole life, but you know what I mean?
No, I truly believe that being lean is the best. There's nothing better. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not trying to be big. Like, I'm just trying to be lean. And I'm not taking away from the people that do get big and
Mhm.
strong. Like, that's amazing. That's freaking hard work. But some of these guys just got to try to get lean at least once. Got to do it at least once to get
Yeah,
completely
I
lean,
found
you
passions
know?
in what I was doing, right?
Yeah.
So another thing I wanted to add, I fell in love with calisthenics, and that's what pushed me to go to the gym a lot
Mm,
more because the gym wasn't boring. It wasn't just like, oh, let's go lift some weights and pick up, some barbells. At one point, I was practicing pull ups and I could not do 5 pull ups in a row when I first started. And then I was able to do 10. And then I was able to do 15. Then I was able to do a set of 20. And then I cranked out a set of 30, 7, 8 months later. And then I was doing muscle ups for 10. Right. And like that kept it fun for me. And then I moved to handstands. And now I can pop into a handstand at moment's notice and hold a 1 arm handstand if I want to for a couple seconds.
awesome.
So, dude, like I've noticed that with myself, at least in fitness, there always has to be fun goals attached to it. If not, I get bored, right? Food. I switched to a
Mm,
full on keto and carb cycling diet. I was already shredded. Everything was already going well with my diet, but I wanted to switch to it because I thought, okay, something new. Let me see how this works. And I fell in love with keto, man. That was one of the best decisions I ever made was hopping on keto. I was always like bloated. I didn't realize how bloated I was my whole life. I didn't realize how much water I always held. I didn't realize like so many different things how food affects our minds and how we think, right? And it's mostly
yeah.
carbs. When you take away
No.
carbs and you watch your body become fat adapted and start like burning fats for fuel instead of carbs, I'm never bloated. I wake up zero water in my body at all. Brain is sharp. Everything is
Hmm.
I fell in love with that diet, right? So that was another thing that pushed me to the next level. But just to keep going along the storyline, just for the audience, from January to July, I didn't need anything special. You don't need anything special to lose weight and gain muscle. There's nothing. You need to go to the gym 5 times a week. You need to do cardio 5 times a week. And you need to eat at a caloric deficit. That is all you have to do. You don't even need to hit the gym 5 times a week. You hit the gym 3 times a week, do cardio just as much, and eat at a deficit. You will hit your goals, right?
Yeah.
Where it
Totally.
gets more complex is actually building muscle and building skills, which like handstands and little things like that, you know.
Yes.
But by
Oh my.
July, I was.
No, just kind of wait really quick. I got to make a
Oh, go ahead.
point there. Like,
Go
you're
ahead.
so right, man. Like, I always am telling people like dropping the fat is like kind of the easy part and getting lean, but the gaining the muscle and trying to, get stronger and kind of do the little things, that's the hardest part. That's the part that takes years and decades and freaking everything, right? To get to where you want to be with muscle. Oh man, it takes so much longer. It's not even funny when it comes to that, especially if you're a natural guy that's not taking anything,
Mhm,
peptides or anything like that. Like it is gonna take decades to gain
mhm.
to gain a couple pounds of muscle if you've been training your whole life. I'm not talking about newbie gains and things like that. I'm talking about if you've been training your whole life, it's gonna take a while. So I
It took a
completely agree
while.
there. That part, enjoy it because it's quick results. I mean, you can gain and lose fat like quick, man. And so it's like enjoy that because the other stuff takes longer.
And I actually through the whole fitness journey, Quinn, I realized why I actually was doing this. At first, I thought it was to lose weight and look better,
Yeah.
and I realize it all just comes down to freedom, right? We all work to have financial freedom,
Mm,
but we don't think of
mm,
fitness as freedom in our own bodies. And as I got leaner,
good.
as I got more flexible, as I got more strong, like once I was able to like really have gravity freedom to be able to pull myself up and fly on a bar, you realize that that's a whole other level of freedom that most people don't even ever achieve. Dude, walking felt better. Like I never knew that
Interesting.
walking was hard when you're fat or when you're
Yeah.
unflexible. The difference between what your life is like getting up off the couch when you don't have flexibility is different than when you're healthy and flexible. Like I will preach this on the mountaintops because I felt both sides with fat and unflexible to now lean and flexible. Your life is better. Like it's not just weight, it's your whole quality of life changes and you have freedom, right? And that's what I feel now.
Mm,
It's full body freedom. And that's where the passion now comes from. That's why I keep pushing now. It's not because I want to get bigger or leaner or whatever. I just want to have more freedom. I want to be able to like move around
and
my
that's
body better.
Yeah, that's super interesting with the freedom because I kind of say something similar. Like the reason I'm motivated to stay in shape and do the things which I've never thought of it the freedom way. I've always said it's just out of gratitude because when I had two ACL injuries and I couldn't work out, I just have so much gratitude for what it kind of is freedom too. Like the freedom to move, the freedom to go to the gym. I didn't have. And so now I'm just like, I'm I'm not going back. Like it doesn't, I don't care how old I am or whatever. Like everyone keeps saying, wait till you have kids, this and that. And it's like every time I have a kid, my whole goal is to just be more jacked. You know what I mean? It's like I don't care. Like I've already been there and it sucked. Like it was terrible. You
Mhm.
can't move, you can't work out. You're just like eating all this crap food
You're
and you
sweating
feel
up a flight of
terrible.
stairs.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's miserable. I agree, man. That's kind of my motivation, a little bit of gratitude, but I could see the freedom thing too. I've never thought of it that way. That's very interesting. Interesting take.
Absolutely. Fast
Okay.
forward now, I don't know. It's crazy because losing weight takes a while, but gaining it, I'll tell you what, is pretty quick. I'm back up to 215.
Easy. Easy to gain weight. I always tell guys it's so easy for me. I could gain weight in a month, dude. Like,
Yeah.
man. Okay.
Yeah. Thankfully, it wasn't all fat. I
So,
still have abs and stuff, but definitely
yeah.
water comes back fast once you start eating carbs.
Yeah, totally. So you go from keto to adding in carbs occasionally, or do you just stay in keto the whole time, or what's kind of your deal with the keto stuff?
It depends on where I'm at in the process. So I went from cutting to I got super cut and now I'm going on a bulk. So right now I'm lean bulking and you could bulk on keto, but the way our muscles work, they work a little bit better with glycogen in them and full of water and we get more strength and more energy. So I go from 30 grams of carbs on my traditional trace keto diet. It's keto carb cycling. So like
Yeah.
every 10 days I'll have a
Okay.
refeed day with 200 grams of carbs. But I
Okay.
raised it to now like low carb. So it's like just to give you an example on macros, I'm eating 75 grams of carbs now. So I raised it by 40,
Hmm.
45, 180 grams of protein and 190 grams of fat.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And you have a
So,
refeed day with the carbs. Okay. That's
well,
cool. Yeah, I
on
mean,
this,
listen.
no, this is just my standard macros now until I'm done bulking.
Oh, okay. Until you're done
I might just
bulking. In
raise
the
carbs
bulk,
a little
you're
bit over
putting
time.
carbs back in.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, the cool thing about it is like, yes, you could do it on keto. You don't have to do keto. I've never
Don't
done
have to. Yeah.
keto. I've just I like carbs. I just eat it normal. Like I don't I there is no diet that I do other than I just manipulate my macros, right? There's no it's, I just eat what I
And that's all you
want
need.
and I do what I want. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you find what works for you. If there's other things that like work better, like I've seen some guys that are like, oh, you have to intermittent fast. So I've seen some guys that do keto, and I'm always like, that's great. Just, stick to something that works good that you enjoy and go for it. Yeah.
It's funny because whenever I try to get people to do this type of crazy stuff like counting macros, they all think it's like so hard and so much of an annoyance, right? But what most people don't realize is it's freedom, right? Once you get to a point where you already understand what your body needs and you understand what your maintenance caloric requirement is and you know how to manipulate it,
Hmm.
I can eat more junk food than anybody else and still stay lean. because I know how to actually do it, right? Like it's the freedom now to eat without having guilt. Because if I want to, I can go eat 3,000 calories of ice cream right now and still wake up tomorrow lean because I'll know how to manipulate back into the correct caloric maintenance. So, like, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
for everyone listening in the fitness space, it's like it's you figure it out only one time, and then after that, you have a lifetime of freedom to eat whatever you want.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I say the same thing to guys. Like you do have to track at least once. You do have to do it one time. Like, because there's no way for me to tell you how it works and you to understand it without like doing it yourself. Because I had to do it too. Like I had a coach. They helped me through it. I tracked every day. I literally tracked for a full year. I mean, I missed maybe a handful of days, maybe 10 days, but I tracked for
Mhm,
a year, and I haven't tracked in a little bit. I mean, maybe even over a year or so. But like you said, I know what I'm doing, and if I need to, I can track for a day or two and kind of figure it out. But I went through that phase to get the freedom where I,
mhm.
like you said, where you can have that like, wow, I could. And the first time I got shredded, I did it the unhealthy way because that's how I wanted to do it. I didn't want to eat the broccoli and the chicken. I just manipulated my macros and I stuck to it, and I ate the crap food still. And I was like, wow, who knew that this was actually real? That you could
Yeah.
actually eat like crap and get shredded. It was mind blowing. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. What it's like, it goes back to a quote I heard from. I actually don't remember who said it, but what you want to grow, track, right? And if you want to
Yeah.
be able to grow or shrink your body, track it. It gets to a point now, at least with me, where I track everything. Like I was telling you about rhythm, right? I have a blood test every month where I go and track all of my levels. Food is being tracked. Workouts are tracked by the weight, by the rep. Cardio is tracked. Supplements are tracked. Peptides are tracked because I started taking peptides probably 8 months in, and I'll tell you what, it was a big
Nice.
game changer for me.
I'd love to hear your perspective on peptides actually. So I haven't gone down the road of like taking peptides for myself. I have done some research on the BPC, 157 for injuries and things like that because I have a pretty bad knee, but
Mhm.
I haven't like pulled the trigger on it yet. But I'd love to hear from you, like how you've used them and I guess what your thoughts are before and after. Like, does it make a big difference? What are your thoughts on it, on peptides?
I think peptides are a cheat code to life. I think they have,
Okay.
well, not think. I've done enough research and I have doctors I talk to every day about this stuff. But we're at a point now where there's very little downside effect from most of these peptides. Very little, if
Hmm.
any. Maybe some nausea if you take one, or a flush, which is like just a feeling of something going through your body. But there's little to no downside with thousands of benefits from hundreds of different peptides on this planet right now. And what a peptide is a branched chain amino acid that our body already naturally creates. We're just adding a little more of it, right? So BPC 157, that's a great one. Body protection compounds. That's what BPC stands for. I found out recently. But our stomach already creates BPC, from what I understand. I am not a doctor. I just do my own research,
Yeah.
just saying. But our body creates it. We just put more of it in, and boom, it makes our ligaments heal better. It
Hmm.
makes our tendons want to recover better. I don't even take BPC or TB that much, or really very infrequent, because I'm never injured. I'm always, I feel 100%. I only really take those when I'm injured, but I take one every couple of days called glutathione. It's the world's
Hmm.
best antioxidant. Keeps my skin super freaking cats here. Hold on, sorry about that. It keeps my skin literally glowing. It changes the melanin. Like there's a million different. Oh, sorry. My cats are going crazy right now. Give me 1 second. All right. So that one is one that just keeps me healthy, cleans out my liver, cleans out my cells. Glutathione is one of I praise this peptide because it has made me not only feel better but look better. My hair is better, my skin, my everything. So that one's really cool. I take L-carnitine pre-workout, which L-carnitine is, I mean, you probably heard of it. We could take it in pill form.
Hmm.
That's a pretty known supplement in the bodybuilding community. As a peptide, it works very interestingly because it basically puts you in ketosis the second you take it. So it
Mm.
switches your primary fuel source from carbs to fats. It gives you a little bit of a performance edge in your workout, gives you a little bit of mental focus, and it makes you burn twice as many calories and sweat twice as hard. So that helps me a lot in my workouts. I recently started taking there's this group of peptides called secretagogues, and I'm gonna butcher the explanation, but long story short, it's a natural way to make your body produce more growth hormone. So here's an example. The traditional bodybuilding way of doing it is you go grab growth hormone and you inject it in your body, right? And boom, you have more growth hormone, but it is unnatural growth hormone. And the problem with that is your body can't really pick, or you can't really pick what it grows. It just grows. That's why you see bodybuilders die of heart attacks because their heart ends up growing, their organs grow. You can see your hands grow, your feet grow, anything grows. The growth hormone will grow anything in the body. But
Yeah.
what these secretagogues will do is actually go and I'm just going to simplify this, but they'll go talk to the pituitary gland and be like, hey, you should excrete more growth hormone like now. And instead of it being unnatural growth hormone, your pituitary gland starts excreting more growth hormone, which helps with sleep, helps with recovery, helps with workouts, helps with muscle building, helps with fat loss, helps with freaking everything. Very little downsides there as well. They also, during one of the last like week of my cut, I took and I microdosed this. There's this peptide called retatrutide, and it is the best weight loss peptide in the world. Look into it when you can. It is literally a cheat code to fat loss in life with zero side effects and downsides.
Nice.
But it
Heck yeah.
does, from what I understand, three different things. It slows down gastro digestion, so it keeps your stomach fuller for longer. So takes away cravings, makes you
Yep.
more insulin sensitive. So your body just burns fat at a more efficient level. And there is something else it does. That was given without proper diet, proper workout, proper programming, and all the other stuff you need. None of these peptides will do anything. I'm going to say that to everybody.
That is, that is what I was gonna ask you was like, do you still believe like you got to do all the other things and these are kind of more like enhancers, but like you gotta focus on the main things first, or what is your thoughts there on because I have guys come to me like, what are you taking or what should I be taking? And I'm like, dude, first just get lean and shredded, like control your
Mm.
weight and you can use some of these things to help, but you know, dude, like it's not gonna change your life if you just take these things and you look the same and you do the same thing, same lifestyle.
Yeah, they'll
What
give you a
what are your thoughts?
10% edge. That is all. The other
Yeah.
90% comes from everything you do on a daily basis, your lifestyle. But
Yep.
with everything together, it creates a beautiful picture. Like if you're doing everything right, hitting your macros, hitting your workouts, not missing days, and you add in a couple peptides on the tail end of that just to help with recovery or help with muscle building or help with fat loss, and you dose them right, you obviously talk to a medical professional. And they even have like other ones that just help with energy, like NAD plus. I take NAD plus every morning. And that I don't need coffee. Who needs coffee when you have NAD
Yeah.
plus? So
Yeah.
it's just healthier alternatives, right? But going back to the main point, it all starts at working out and eating right. That's where it all starts and ends. You cannot take actually wait, I take this back because there is one peptide and I'm just going to mention it because it's something that's kind of experimental. I haven't taken it yet, but I'm sure once I mention it, people will look into it. And so it's called
Yeah.
SLU-PP332, which
Mhm.
supposedly it recreates the androgenic effects of cardio. I think I said that right. With just through the peptide itself. So it puts your body in a and basically like as if you're doing steady state cardio for an hour just from a quick injection. So that one I don't know what to expect. And now it's getting kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But
That is wild. Yeah. That's crazy.
yeah, going back to the
Huh.
original thing, right? I shredded down July. I started taking a couple peptides July all the way to now. Those helped me
Mhm.
put on probably another 5 to 10 pounds of lean muscle mass. That's why now I'm 215, still at like 12% body fat, probably 11, 12%.
Yeah.
Um, and the whole goal right now is I'm gonna bulk for another month and then hop on a full shred mode and shred down to where you were at 5%, 6%.
Yeah.
That's probably
That's
2 months
awesome,
out.
man.
Yeah. Appreciate
No,
it.
that's great. Yeah. No, that's the facts. Like, you don't need help. Like, I don't know. You can't take some stuff to help you lose the weight, but like, but the hardest part is gaining the muscle, right? And without
Mhm.
some of these things, I'm always telling guys like you can I mean, realistically gain like half a pound to maybe 3 pounds a year naturally, right? If you've
Mhm.
been lifting and you've already been doing it, like me, it's like I'm not gonna, unless I start doing some of these things, which I who knows? Listen, I'm not opposed to any of this stuff. I'm definitely
Mhm.
looking into some of it, and maybe when the time's right, I'll get on some of this stuff. But for now, like I just let people know that it takes what it takes when it comes to muscle gaining. If you're not doing some of these other things, it takes a long time, a long
Yeah.
time.
Long time.
So,
One thing I wanna add is super important that I didn't know, and when I found out, it helped me tremendously. A lot of us have low tests and we don't even know. And a
mhm,
lot of my progress, I feel like the last 10 years was stunted because maybe just through like bad habits, like bad fitness habits. Like I was working 15 hours a day. So how good could my fitness habits have really been?
yeah,
I got tested, and this is why what you want to grow, you should track. I got tested at the beginning, it was probably like March or April. I was already halfway through this weight loss journey. And I checked my test levels and they were at like 390, 400. I don't know,
mhm.
just for everyone listening, I don't
Low,
know if you
yeah,
know,
that's very low.
I'm supposed to be at 800 for my age. I'm 27. Oh, I hopped on TRT after that. That put me at normal levels for my age. And let me tell you, man, I didn't know what normal felt like until that. Like,
Yeah,
realistically, a lot of people don't need this stuff, especially at my age, but I did, and I was one of the odd cases that for some reason that just had low tests. And that was I would suggest anyone to track their blood levels and double check something like that. You don't even know how different your life would be.
totally. No, that's a good point. That's a great point as well. Okay, so you're killing it with your fitness. You've killed it with everything that you do. One of the things that I've taken away is you're a guy that gets obsessed, that goes all in with things, doesn't dip his toe in, which I think is a trait of somebody that is successful. I guess as we kind of wrap this up or kind of get towards the end here, I guess finishing out your story a little bit. So you had the fitness transformation. You went from solar. What was your next step from there?
So it started when I already had my foot kind of in solar. So I got obsessed with this program that a company named Second Nature created, which was a sales training platform powered by AI, where you'd be able to talk to like a role play sort of agent, and it would go through a sales process with you like a customer. And then at the end of it, it would give you, yeah, you can look it up online, secondnature.ai. It'd give you a report card, and the report card was like the craziest thing I've ever seen. It was said how it gave you a score on how many ums you said in your conversation, or how good your hook was, or how good your objection rebuttals were, or how enthusiastic you were, your energy level, your this, your that. And I was just sitting there like, man, if I had something like this while we were building out sales teams, I probably would have 5 times more effective teams. So this is mid 2020, mid to end 2023. I'm already foot out of the door at my previous company, and I just have this idea, like this raging idea, where I'm like, we need to take this and make it better. And that's what the whole idea stemmed from, was because I saw how they did it, and I saw a bunch of different holes in the bucket. And at the same time, I created a relationship with, which now is he's my best friend, but it was I was having conversations about certain legal things that I needed to get done, and he was my lawyer at the time. His name's John. He was a 25-year, funny enough, same person that introduced me to solar introduced me to this lawyer, which is Brian. Um, he was a 20-year mergers and acquisitions attorney. He did hundreds, if not thousands, of real estate deals, business deals. He managed uh, big big money portfolios. Like, he was very high up in the consulting slash finance slash legal space. And I started paying him in the beginning as a lawyer just because I needed to get a couple things done. And then after a while, we started talking every day, and it became a friendship. And then it became a mentorship where he was literally like, and that's one thing I want to add. Every part of my life, I've always been stuck somewhere, and then I've had someone from above come and give me a hand and pull me up. Just like when I was in
Mm,
alarms and Bry was like, "You're too good for alarms." Just like when I was in my parents' logistics company and Gustavo was like, hey, you should come try to sell this stuff in Ohio, right? I was always
Yeah.
stuck looking for something, and then someone came and just pulled me up. So in this instance, now it's John. He started mentoring me. He changed my business nuance and changed the way I looked at life at the time, at that point. And influenced a lot of my next decisions. But I was still kind of foot in the door with solar. This was 2023 November, let's say. I had already left my previous company. I start looking at avenues of starting a tech company, and me and John are chit chatting about it. But still, then, like, bills have to be paid, money needs to be made. So I'm doing blitzes with another company I ended up joining. And this was at this point, like beginning of 2024. So January, February, March, we did a couple blitzes. Me and John were talking every day at that point. We had already started a company. We just didn't know exactly what it was going to be. But a little more backstory, John was part owner in a like a 22-year-old tech company already, which was named Olympus LLC. To give you an idea, Olympus, real deal. He was majority owner, and they were a SAP engineering firm that has been in the industry the last 20 plus years. And they, just to give you, like, not to brag, but just to give you kind of like the scope, they built
Uh-huh.
out, I guess I say we, because that's our company now, but we built out Apple's global track and trace system for all of the Apple iPhones in the entire world. So whenever
Wow.
an iPhone leaves a warehouse, we built that system.
Mm.
Right. We rebuilt the logistic infrastructure for Coca-Cola in 54 different states. So they were
Wow.
very big in high-end logistics, SAP engineering, yada, yada, yada. When AI started becoming more affordable to the general public, because AI has been around for 20 plus years, it's just now that it actually got affordable for people to be able to use day to day. This was at the same time that I was making my transition, meeting John. John's owner of the company. We're figuring stuff out. Boom, somehow we end up just merging the company we created with Olympus. I ended up becoming CEO of the whole thing, mainly the AI branch. Olympus still does its thing with SAP and all the big contracts they have.
Hmm.
But that's when we opened up what it was called at the time, InnoVR AI, which, funny enough, 2 years ago, and this is just a testament to how business truly is. We thought we had it all figured out. We thought we were just going to pick it up and run with it. We thought we knew what we even wanted the business to be about. 1,000 iterations later, we're here. And
Yeah.
it started off with wanting to do the second nature thing to then use the, by the way, Olympus has like a 70-man development team. So we had access to plenty of developers to build whatever we want, and we still do. But at that point, it was trying to figure out the model, right? And for almost the first 6 months, man, it was just me and John and another two employees that we had sitting on Zoom calls, talking for 4 hours a day and just dialing in like, hey, what are we building? What are we doing here? And at the same time, keep in
Mm.
mind, none of us are making money. Like, I spent 2 years not receiving a single paycheck while we
Yeah.
were building this out. So that's just how it is. This is how business
Sacrifice.
is,
Yep.
right? Sacrifice. That's the sacrifice portion of it.
Yep.
But within like the first year, literally sat for a year just trying to figure out what we were gonna, how we were gonna mold the model. Right? It's always, you always think it's gonna be faster than what it really is. And
Totally.
then mid last year, we kind of got our footing. We figured out kind of how we're going to be moving in the space. And it ended up being, since John and his team, and then now me, we have a lot of business nuance. He's more on the consulting side. So he can sit down. He's sat with every industry possible and knows top to bottom everything about most industries. And it started being a consulting company with a massive tech arm. So we'd sit down with a company, we would probe their operations, we'd figure out everything they're doing from start to finish, sales, marketing, HR, build, yada yada yada. We'd find holes in their bucket, and then we'd supply tech solutions to get those holes fixed. And that started
Yeah.
picking up steam just with our connections alone. We started getting our first few clients, and that tumbleweeded, and I mean, not tumbleweeded, snowballed into a couple really big deals. Like, to give you an idea, we're about to do business with Allstate, small insurance company, build out AI
Nice.
infrastructure for them. But that all
That's
started
awesome.
just from us sitting in a room not freaking out, but not making any money and also definitely stressing on how we are going to get this thing off the ground.
Yeah.
So that whole first year was really tough. Coming into mid of last year, understood our footing, kept pushing on, and money started coming into the business account. Things started picking up. But then we iterated another 4 different times since then because you start building out the systems and processes of how you're gonna make this thing replicatable. And the first way you do something is never how you continuously do it forever, right? You need to figure out, how am I gonna replicate this, and how am I gonna systematize it? So it ended up moving into, then we were gonna create, then we became a business incubator for a little bit, not like for a little bit, we still are to an extent, but we started getting opportunities where people were launching apps and they needed either help with operations or help getting it funded and off the ground and on the app stores. They needed help with their marketing on how to launch the thing. So we just started for like mid to end of last year helping businesses like that. And we got some deals that were equity, some deals that they paid us out outright. But that taught me a lot about just the tech game in general and how things move. Fast forward into this year, I mean, and this is just small caveat. AI is the fastest changing industry we have in the world right now. It is not like, it
Yeah.
is month to month, everything changes. And we need to relearn stuff every single month, new tools, new platforms, new ways of doing things. That's kind of the hard part. That's why most people can't do this industry, because they're just not quick enough to understand and adapt. But then our footing was pretty much caught at the beginning of this year, and now it's just been in taking new clients and creating replicatable systems. And at this point, it's kind of a mixture of, we're a development company that people can come to us and build whatever app they want to build, or if they're in the middle of building something, we can help take it and take it to the next level. And then the core business model is AI agents, that type of stuff. So if it isn't something that we're helping build off the ground or helping take public, you can go on our website by next month. We're going to have AI agents you can purchase. They'll do certain things. It'll be top to bottom business development. So, like, we'll have agents that can handle your marketing, agents that can handle your customer service, your sales, even outbound, inbound. Like, we've spent the last couple years developing this at this point. Um,
That's awesome.
yeah. So
Wow.
I know a lot of words.
That's really cool. No, that's awesome, man. That's a big transition, and it sounds like you're doing the same things you've done. You know how to push through the hard times and, sacrifice to get where you want to go, which I think is something that I'm taking from this podcast for sure. If I were to kind of sum it up, this is kind of what I would say, man, before we kind of wrap this up. And then I appreciate your time, by the way. And then I have a question for
Appreciate you,
you as
man.
well to kind of end things, and I want to get your perspective on it. But from what I've got from this podcast, man, you dropped out of high school, which is awesome. I love that part. You freaking pushed hard, 15-hour days, grinding door to door, just learned this insane work ethic that I think has pushed you in all different areas. And you had this mindset that if someone has done it, so can you, which I think everyone should have that mindset, because I think that's a big one. Why not me, right? And then from there, man, you just put your passion first and continue to push past what a normal person would do. Normal people don't do the crazy numbers you do, the crazy time and the work that you put in. And I loved what you said about fitness too, where fitness and sales, if you do 90% of the work, you only get 10% of the result. And I think that is the biggest takeaway for me, is like, you only get 10% for doing 90%. So you may as well give 100 and freaking 10, or at least 100% to get 100% of the result. And then obviously you had a crazy fitness transformation, and you're continuing to grow there. Dude, I love it. The one question that I have for you, man, is I always end it with this. How do you personally, and I know this changes every year, at least for me, but how do you personally define success at this point in your life? Like, what does that word mean to you? What does that mean to you to be success, or define success in your words?
It's a complex yet simple question, so that's why I'm taking a quick second. But
Yeah, no, for sure.
um, it does change every year. At first, I thought success was
Yeah,
money, and then I thought success was having a hot girlfriend and money, and then I thought it just got.
yeah,
But at this point, it's nothing materialistic because I realize that comes and goes, and none of it matters. Success, and this is gonna sound so cliche, but it's truthfully how I feel. And this is my like this is the biggest takeaway I have from this year for myself is when the journey feels so good that the destination doesn't matter. That's what success
mm,
is. And it's like the last few achievements, it's been like, okay, what now? And it's not as fun as the whole journey I just took of figuring out muscle ups or scaling a tech
yeah,
company or knocking 15-hour doors. When I was in that, I wasn't successful because I was always trying to think of the destination. It was always like, I can't wait till my bank account looks like this, or oh, I can't wait till my relationships look like this, or oh, success is when you can sit there and not need anything and just know, hey, the journey is the best part. I'm already here. It's happening. This is
mm,
the success. You know what I mean? There's no destination. We're all going to end up in a box 8 feet under. This is the success. The success is if you're pushing every day in life and you enjoy what you do every single day, you're successful.
it's awesome. Well, I love that. That's a great way of putting it, the journey for sure. Well, Sam, like I appreciate you coming on. This was awesome. For you guys that are listening, I guess would I direct them to just follow you on Instagram? And is that like the best place to
Yeah.
figure out you,
Yes.
your company? Okay.
Sam,
Follow them on it.
YEOO.
Cool. I'll put it in the show notes. Follow them on Instagram. Guy's a savage. And yeah, that's the show. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you coming on, Sam.
Appreciate
And
you too for having
till
me.
next time. Yep.